Hi, and cheerio! Welcome to Uber Cinco. We've got a wonderful presentation for you today. If you're returning to the den, then wave your hellos to Bizbear. And if you're here for your inaugural voyage, then come with me, and I'll introduce you to the world of Uber Cinco, where we deep dive top fives. Our contestants will reveal and defend their top 5 non-leading thespians of the silver screen. I'm Mitch Brinkman, your host for today, and squaring off in our match, he's a returning champion. It's Brian. Imperial Pints don't get me drunk. Ernst. Say hello, Brian.
Hello. Thank you for inviting me back.
Oh, so glad to have you back. Cheerio. What a fine chap you are. And a special guest, the brave man whose friendly knows no bounds, the troubadour of whiskey. Mitch, I've got some money to spend. Conti.
Hi, everybody.
Glorious welcome. And with that, let's wake you out of hibernation with a quick rundown of the rules.
Each player in the den has spent time with today's topic arranging their top 5 answers in order of importance. Those answers have been submitted to the host who will moderate the game, awarding points to the player with the most poignant answer.
Starting with their number 5 choice, we will move up the ranks until we reach each of their top answers. But if both contestants happen to have the same answer on their list, well, we have an Uber stare-down.
You will hear the official Uber Cinco siren, and both players must reveal their answer and what number they ranked their submission. An Uber stare-down is all or nothing, with one player earning 3 points. After all answers have been read, the host will reveal the final score.
Okay, and yes, I want to inform our loyal listeners that our normal player, Nathan Hennefant, is on leave. He sent a messenger hound this morning to my cottage saying, with a half-chewed note detailing his horrendous case of the drinkabout. So once he's through to the other side of that cheeky little illness, we shall welcome him back. And please do stay past intermission. I understand my accent has been changing all the way, of course, until the end of the show, when I will dispense my Fast 5 send-off, where I'll whet your thirst with my Fast 5 Depression-era cocktails for our Depressive Times. Now, as host, I am entitled to institute a house rule, which today's game, it will be this. I hope you boned up or have an immense guessing brain, because I'll be popping up with a short pop quiz about the actors and actresses you list today. The first person to answer correctly will get a point, but if no one gets it correct, you will both lose a point. Good luck, gentlemen. Brian, you appeared to me in my dreams last night, but in that dream you denied me a 4th cookie, so for that, you will go second. Mitch Conti, please lead us off with your number 5.
You cannot do this voice the whole damn time.
No, I won't. No, I'm done. It's so bad. I know. It's gross.
Okay,
it's
good.
bad. I'm so sorry.
For anybody who is still staying tuned to this point.
It was just, I'm just a stupid roustabout off the street trying to sound like a fancy thespian, so,
No, here's the thing. You are showing your range, Mr. Brinkman. And I think, if anything, out of all of the characters that we'll be listing here today, out of everyone that we'll be discussing, it's about range. It's about how diverse they can bring to this, their character to the screen. And I think, just what you're doing here is just showing your range. I'm proud of you for taking that risk.
Thank you so much. G'day. All right, cool.
So starting you off?
That was nice, yeah. Oh, yeah, so please, Mitch, give us your number 5 non-leading actor or actress. Please get us going here.
All right, so my number 5 pick to non-leading actor or actress is Kathy Bates. She's my number 5 pick. And this was a hard one, too, because there is a lot of different... There's an amazing array of actors, and I feel like today's list is just my top 5 of today. But in terms of her recently, I've been very impressed with her performances, and it got me thinking about her career overall. From specifically Richard Jewell, most recently. Okay. She was the mom of Richard Jewell, and I think that whole scene of her talking to the press, in terms of haunted by the press throughout this entire experience. I'm not sure if you've are familiar with the movie, but Richard Jewell is about a security guard who finds a bomb and then handles everything at a concert in a public area. And he's usually this guy who, he's a security guard who wants to be a cop, and he's just not the type. And his mama is just this proud mama of her boy and wants to make sure that he's taken care of. And then all of a sudden the press turn on them, and it's it's him that they start to look at as the suspect. And she's this mother that is, you just see throughout the months her journey. And then you start thinking about the rest of her career, and you realize like the large TV career that she's had, most recently with American Horror Story, where, again, if we're talking about range, every single one of those seasons where she is an ensemble cast member, it is a different character, different story, and she is a powerful presence, I feel like, when she is on screen. And I like that she can be a leading lady, as we've seen with Misery. And it also lends into her talent of horror and that kind of, bringing that itch and that tingle to the screen. And I feel like she really is able to evoke that. To I think a complete transitional character in terms of TV specifically. And I always remember probably one of those seasons of The Office is that are really hard to handle. And it's later in those seasons where, they start transitioning out Michael Scott, and they use Kathy Bates for a full season during that transition. And she is, she calls out Michael. She's got her dogs. It's one of those times where you can see, them. I really like how powerful she can be. And again, that same type of powerful comedy chops can be also lent to her role in Waterboy, where she is opposite of Adam Sandler, and she is Mama again in a completely different way, Like instead of that emotional, care that she has for her son, like Richard Jewell, it is this captive and isolating, fear that she has for her baby boy, Adam Sandler, And so I feel like she's got that whole kind of horror and comedy that she can really lend herself to, in terms of her non-leading roles. Yeah. I would also mention, as an honorary mention of a lead role that she has, is Fried Green Tomatoes, which is one of my favorite Kathy Bates movies, where she's just a very powerful woman again, but one who is searching for her own. But that one we won't discuss.
I was about to say she's got more snap than a gator with a firecracker up his butt, which I feel like is something Joe Bennett might throw it to Michael Scott.
I would say Joe Bennett would throw that up to Michael, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
And also Adam Sandler.
That absolutely true. And I think too, without her in Waterboy, that movie never touches the ground.
No.
Right? It never even gets close to the ground.
It's those scenes you want to see, And I feel like every time I know she's in a movie, those are the scenes I want to see, Midnight in Paris, she's Gertrude Stein, and you've got, wow, Gertrude Stein, oh, wow. And all of a sudden it's Kathy Bates, like, coming in and, like, again, whipping him into shape, and she's completely different. And I just feel like, or even burying herself all in About Schmidt, where she's opposite Jack Nicholson, supporting Jack Nicholson.
I was going to say the hot tub scene. God,
that was like, were you about to say how young you were?
I was going to say, I was like, I'm not so sad for old age anymore. So,
right?
Yeah.
I just feel like she's got a lot of those movies where you kind of are once you see her on the bill, when is she going to pop up? When is she going to come in and surprise me with something fun? And she brings a lot of energy to the screen in that way. Yeah,
that's Kathy. I mean, she's a fucking legend. She is. I'm also in a little bit of research about her. I'm going to say she has a special connection with someone else that's going to be brought up in today's episode. So watch out for that, guys. Brian, let's move right along to your number 5. Let's see if it can hold up, because Kathy Bates is a hard hitter. I mean, she's got does she have an Oscar? Oh yeah, she has an Oscar. Yeah, for Misery.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hot damn.
Yeah. Wow, she's got more than me, and that's all that I know.
I'm going to say this, Mitch, you have multiple Oscar winners on your list. Brian, none. So
and that's I feel like I went too big with some of these names, because her lead roles are the issues I'm having,
This just you just have to defend your list. Brian's going to defend his. Whoever brings the juice is going to get the pointage. So here we go.
You got it.
All right. So after Conti over here brought up Richard Jewell, I was going to say the most recent Clint Eastwood saga that Brinkman and I had the pleasure of watching was The Mule. Very different film.
It's a great hate watch. Very good hate watch. So,
one of the most fascinating movies we've seen this year.
He has, was it 2 or 3 threesomes in the film? 2
threesomes.
2 threesomes, that's
right. In a film that he's directed.
Yep. He has a shirtless threesome scene. It is unconscionable, and you don't feel like it's happening when it's happening. So
we literally only saw this movie because of the John Mulaney, Pete Davidson bit on Weekend Update. We were like, we have to see this movie now. But anyway, my number 5, non-leading actor, I have Keith David. This man,
ooh, what a pull! What a pull!
320 acting credits, and he made my list for one reason and one reason alone: Childs from The Thing. 1982, one of the most controversial endings to any movie of all time. I kind of fell through a YouTube rabbit hole looking through some of the theories of The Thing while researching Mr. David here. Mm-hmm. There's 3 theories that make him The Thing. Have you heard the eye gleam theory? That the Thing throughout the movie doesn't have an eye light. Whenever somebody's the Thing, they never have an eye light in the scene. There's no glint in their eye. It's all dead. There's another theory that every time he speaks, there's no breath. You don't see the breath in the cold when he speaks. But there's another scene where Kurt Russell is running around and you can't see him breathing, so doesn't have any legs. Or
what about Wilford Brimley? Is Wilford Brimley ever brought up as being possibly the Thing?
I wish he was, man. And the Molotov whiskey theory. So throughout at the beginning of the movie, Kurt Russell's pounding a bunch of whiskey in the same green bottles that they later use as Molotov cocktails throughout the movie. At the end, they are left with one whiskey bottle that you've been filling them with gasoline this whole movie. Why the hell would you just suddenly have one whiskey bottle at the end? He hands the bottle to Childs. Childs takes a drink, says, ah. And then Kurt Russell gives out this little chuckle. Like, if he was the Thing, he wouldn't be able to distinguish between whiskey or gasoline. So people think that little chuckle is him being like, I was right. And we're both going to die anyway. Either way.
Crap.
Back to Keith. It's fascinating theories you can get down with The Thing. So moving on to one more credit.
I was just say I had no idea. I watched The Thing for the first time maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I mean, obviously great early horror movie. Mm-hmm. John Carpenter, a legend. Had no idea about those theories, but I am definitely going to watch it again.
It's worth rewatching with all that in mind because there's so many cool hidden things in that movie. It's still the fact that it's still being debated now, nearly 40 years later, is pretty crazy. He's the president in Rick and Morty. I mean, he is the president. He is Mary's dad, and there's something about Mary. How do you get the beans above the Frank? Like, how can you not have that?
Yeah.
He's also the witch doctor in a Disney movie in The Princess and the Frog. He's the witch doctor in that one. And he's now 5 seasons deep. Kind of a lead role, kind of a non-lead role in Greenleaf, which I know nothing about, but it's on the OWN network. Yep. And it's been running for 5 seasons. And I'm like, hey, man, this guy's getting a paycheck. And I was like, I will support that any way he can get it.
That is, I will say, in looking over your choices today, it's always nice to see someone who's kind of like putting things together and they finally get that one steady job for like 6 years in a row. And they've got a second house now, or like all their kids are going through college with no worries,
Exactly. There's one I'll mention later on that's got some pretty big stars in the show. I'm not a huge fan of the show, but it's like you're always happy when somebody who's had a little bit of success lands a sitcom.
Oh,
and you're like, you know what? They deserve that Easy Street paycheck. And you know what? They're making those bad words a little bit better. And it's like, at least it's that person who's involved.
At least, I was going to say, at least there's talent coming to it. You know?
Exactly. So number 5, Keith David.
And I was like, you love to see a real actor when they've been doing drama and then all of a sudden they do comedy and everyone's like, what the fuck? They can do comedy? And you're like, yeah, they're a trained actor. They can do anything. It's
a whole Naked Gun scenario when it comes to him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. Those are the number 5s. Excellent ones. There's a little detail here that's going to give Brian the edge this round, and that is Keith David was in a film in 2010 called Now Here, where he plays a character named Detective Brinkman. And I am a shameless sycophant for myself. So Brian's going to get 3 this round. And Mitch, I'm sorry, but Kathy Bates getting a leading actress Oscar makes me doubt this choice a little bit. But she's such a whirlwind of a talent, and she really is.
Think about her role in Titanic, right? Think about Molly Brown in Titanic.
I know.
You've got the sweet Hollywood couple off this side, and you got rich, but not of the class.
Yeah,
Kathy Bates, right? Where she can see that love happening, and you're able to read that with her eyes, my man. She doesn't have some of the best lines. With her eyes in these movies.
I've never seen such a butter up for another point.
Okay, I was gonna say I love making unprecedented moves on Uber Cinco. Mitch, you just got another point back. 3 for Mitch on that round. Wow, you really know how to work me. Good for you. Okay.
Damn. Hot damn.
We're gonna flip it around on this round, and we're gonna go with Brian to your number 4.
All right.
Okay.
Number 4, coming in with 119 acting credits, is the wonderful, the glorious Margot Martindale. Made my list because the first time I discovered her was as Mama Cox in Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox Story. When I was 17 years old. This is my first Margot Martindale memory.
The wrong boy died.
The wrong kid died. But then you've got Secretariat, August Osage County. She's the grandmother recently in Instant Family. She's Dee Dee's mother in Hulu's The Act. She's Patricia Arquette's mother. I don't know if you've seen The Act about the Munchausen by proxy murder. Crazy story. And then one that's on my list that I haven't seen yet that I've been dying to see, which is Blow the Man Down, which she may be the lead in, but it's a super indie movie shot all in Maine that I really, really want to see. But the fact that it is all stemmed from the Dewey Cox Story is really, really fun for me.
Have you ever seen BoJack Horseman?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I just love that they always refer to her as famed character actress Margot Martindale.
Yes.
And you just it's perfect. God, it's perfect.
It's great.
Here's my first pop quiz. Actually, I'm glad you mentioned this because this is going to be the question. What color of car and what type of car does famed character actress Margot Martindale escape from? Is it like an institution in the show? Conti, no Googling.
I want to Google too. I don't know.
No Googling.
Could you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you typing. No Googling.
I don't know green. I don't know.
Blue.
It's okay. So it's make and color.
Yes. Whoever can
green.
get. Oh, sorry.
Do you have a hint?
No. I was gonna say whoever can get more of the of the two, like one of the two will still give you, it won't get a full, as long as you can beat the other person getting more.
It's a Prius that's blue.
Oh, I was gonna say a Prius too. No,
a red Prius Dodge Challenger.
It is not. It's not a Prius. It's a red convertible.
It's a Corvette.
It is a Corvette, right?
I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm playing the game.
I was like, wait, you can't. I just told you what the answer was. I can't. Okay, you both got it wrong. I'm so sorry.
All right, that's fair enough.
Perfect. Good.
You both lose a point, which means really no one loses a point. So, okay, keep going with your Margot Martindale. Actually, tell me right now, have you ever cried to a Margot Martindale project, and what was it?
Ooh. I don't think I have, actually, because you know what? I haven't seen The Hollers.
Oh.
And I really want to see that one because that's a John Krasinski directed vehicle, correct?
Yes, and it is a bit saccharine, but it is sweet.
That's
where
the
it hits
one.
My heart good, and I definitely cried during that one.
I feel like if I was to have one, that would be it, and that's right next to Blow the Man Down, next on my queue to seek out.
I don't know. I don't cry at movies often. Mostly commercials. Commercials are what'll get me. Yeah. And
Short, sweet, hard, to the point.
You know, but I feel like, yeah, I don't know. I don't think I ever have.
Did you ever cry at one of the Clydesdales commercials with Budweiser? You know,
The Budweiser ones?
Yeah. Did you ever cry at one of those?
I mean, I usually, if I'm drunk on a Super Bowl and I get emotional during those commercials, once they start clomping in, you know, it's just,
yeah. I know. I definitely have. Whatever the ones where they like raise the baby, don't they like raise the baby horse or a puppy up to be their sidekick or something?
Yes, they do.
I think, yeah.
Yeah.
A little Clydesdale pony.
I highly recommend Googling the Arrow Awards, which is like the British ad awards, and I think they do a tour around the country, but go and see those if you can. I've seen those a number of times, and British people make insanely effective, with an A, commercials, way more than America.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hands down.
Holy
I watched
carp.
a wonderful Korean commercial the other day about just like this guy who's giving money to doing all his can to help out in his community and giving money, and you watch his day over and day over again. And he's doing the same thing, helping a lady with a cart, giving $1 to the little girl on the street with her mom. And then all of a sudden that little girl, she's gone. She's not on the street anymore. But then he turns the corner and her mom is right there, and the girl's in a little school uniform, and she's going to school now, and she's not on the street. And that brought a tear to my eye.
I've seen this commercial. I've seen it, and it is a tearjerker.
It's a good one.
It's a good one.
That's a good one.
I will also say I've never seen The Americans, but I hear that it is an amazing show, and and famed character actress Margot Martindale is also in that I would like to see.
Yeah, same here.
Cannot recommend that one enough. I did wanted to mention in here, she's been in an incredible amount of great television shows. Dexter, The Americans, The Good Wife, and of course BoJack Horseman as inspired the pop quiz there. Brian, any last words on Margot Martindale?
She's great. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen her in more things than I can remember, and every time she pops up, I'm happy she's there. That's
me. She is a fantasy aunt.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
She's a fantasy aunt. Like, oh, Mitch, by the way, you're gonna have to spend 2 weeks with your Aunt Margot and your Uncle Dick, and you're like, good. I'm glad to be free of you, Mom and Dad. I will gladly go. Margot makes the best butterscotch blondie brownies there are, period. So please bring me there. Okay, we're moving right along. Mitch, give us your number 4, please.
My number 4 is Sam Rockwell. Is my number 4.
Oh, Sam Rock. Oh, God. A man after my own. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
No, I just feel like he's one of those actors where, again, every time he comes up on screen, I get excited and he energizes the screen. I think he's got quite a range in terms of what he can bring, from 3 Billboards most recently, where he is a very racist character, a cop. And I feel like it is quite the message right now, given the climate, where you have Frances McDormand, who is another wonderful character actress and one who I wanted to put on my list. But again, I feel like she was one of those ones that was kind of hidden in their early parts of her career, and now her career's blown up. And I feel like this is also the other issue I have right now with Sam Rockwell, is he is a very big Hollywood star, but he is still a supporting actor in most cases. You look at 3 Billboards, that's a supporting role he was nominated, won for. Did he win?
Yeah.
He did.
He did win.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is, kind of that is the goal for him, from his other roles where he is very much a support, in terms of comedy. One of my favorite movies growing up, because it was one of my favorite books when I was younger, was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And I know it's not, there's a lot of different opinions around that movie, but in
42.
terms of right, exactly. But he is the president,
Zaphod Beeblebrox.
Yeah. And he's got the second head, and his characters will switch. And I feel like, he again, with that movie opposite of like Alan Rickman, in terms of that sad robot character to Zeph, it is just a very fun pairing that he has, and he's ridiculous, and it's a fun performance. And then I also enjoy him. I enjoy him in the Iron Man movies. He is, those movies are, pretty fun, and he plays a interesting role in that as the opposite of Tony Stark. And so, he's Hammer. Man,
I don't know, but he's the only part I liked out of those sequels.
I know, and that's the thing.
Because it's him.
He's kind of that. He's in a lot of movies like that. You look at like Seven Psychopaths, and Seven Psychopaths is an amazing cast, but that movie's not the best. But his scenes are usually great. The ones that I are looking forward to. I feel the same way. And then also too, you have Wild Bill, Green Mile, where he is like, so you've got all-star cast, amazing character actors, and you have this wild. I mean, he is the murderer in that movie. He is a villain in that movie. It's completely contrast to kind of everything else that he's done. You look at like, I feel like he's able to evoke a lot of different emotions from me while he's on screen, and yet he also kind of has this lax ability where it's almost like he never really tried that hard on screen. Yeah. Like there are those characters where it's still like, I think this is also the issue is I just like Sam Rockwell, and a lot of his characters are kind of just Sam Rockwell, as opposed to Kathy Bates. There's a thin veil of his performances. He's an amazing performer. It's a lot of Sam Rockwell in each of those. So even like Galaxy Quest, like Galaxy Quest is one of the funniest ones because he's the red shirt. That shit, I forgot his name, and the whole movie is about people forgetting his name.
I don't remember either, so it's on brand.
Have you guys watched the documentary on Galaxy Quest? It's on Netflix, and it is it is amazing. I definitely recommend it. Just because it's all about the nerds that have made it into this cult classic, and you've seen kind of this journey that this movie has had. And you look at that cast too, and that's an amazing ensemble performances of some of these actors that you don't really think of as giving like amazing performances, like Tim Allen, as the lead, but it's probably his best role. It's like him. That and Home Improvement is probably my favorite Tim Allen roles because like I'm not Last Man Standing ain't my cup of tea, Yeah. But then you've also got like Alan Rickman again. You've got Sigourney Weaver. You've got Tony Shalhoub. You've got an amazing cast. Guy Fleegman or something like that. That's the name that
Guy Fieri is how you pronounce it. Oh, sorry, no.
But I just feel like he's got a lot of movies where he kind of pops in. You even think about like Matchstick Men against, it's still Sam Rockwell, and even when he has been Choke, I feel like I'm fighting against my own pick right now.
Dude, Choke is fun. Choke was never going to be a big hit because it was about the sexual depravity. But
right,
and that's the thing. Every movie he's led, he's never been able to get that breakout hit. What should have been the breakout hit was Moon. Moon was great.
Yes.
But it didn't have the production scale to be a breakout hit. Like no one was gonna.
That's why it's a cult favorite, Yeah, and it's like I feel like his performance in Richard Jewell is pretty amazing too. He's Richard Jewell's lawyer throughout all of that, and that to me is. I did kind of forget that it was him for a little while, but still at the end of the day, it was that thin film of. Well, I just enjoy Sam Rockwell, and it's him yelling at Richard Jewell to stop. I know you want to be friends with these cops, and I know you want to help your mom, but stop it. I'm trying to do what's best for you. And I like, even though it was Sam Rockwell, it felt like Sam Rockwell being my lawyer. It feels like Sam Rockwell being my president of the galaxy. It feels like Sam Rockwell, who is my arms dealer, opposite of Iron Man. I like that it is. I think that's why I ended up choosing him as opposed to the rest of my honorable mentions, just because I enjoy his presence on screen.
Yeah. I want to suggest to the people out there,
check out the winning season. If you like Sam Rockwell when he's being cute and warm-hearted, he plays the basketball coach for a girls' basketball team, and it's just a delightful little film.
I was going to say,
in general, I feel like Sam Rockwell is the king of the indie movies recently.
Way Back.
The Way Back,
Way
yes.
back.
That's one of my favorite, even though he's just doing a Bill Murray impression from, oh God, what's the...
Caddyshack.
No. The camping movie. Why is it not in my brain?
Oh, Meatballs.
Meatballs.
There we go.
He even said
Yeah.
he directly was like playing that character, but that I'm trying. The first thing I ever saw Sam Rockwell in though was Charlie's Angels. Because that's
Boy.
like all these things that came out when you were a kid, like the first time you see him, and then you go back to their catalog when you get older. But like him dancing in Charlie's Angels is like my
He's the
first
villain, right?
Yeah, he's the bad guy.
He's the bad guy, and he's
Yeah.
like at
He's
the end
awesome.
of the day too. It's just Sam Rockwell.
He's
being
so
the
great.
bad guy,
And he's
Or
a
like-
great dancer. He loves
Yes.
to dance. And I
He's
also
a great
encourage...
Nazi. He's a
Yes.
great racist.
Oh my
He's a
God,
great-
Jojo
he's a
Rabbit.
great-
Yes.
Jojo Rabbit was so enjoyable.
Oh.
But again, that type of acting, it was him just like leaning back and being like, "Yeah, I'm Sam Rockwell. I'm a Nazi."
Yeah.
That's how he. I
And
enjoy
it
that, you know?
works. And it
Yeah.
works.
It does. I highly recommend. Okay, we've got to keep moving here, but I highly recommend YouTube his Confessions of a Dangerous Mind audition
Dance.
tape where he auditions
Oh.
for Clooney. It's so much fun. He just dances. It's great. Okay, Brian, move us right along here, please. With your. Oh wait, no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
those
points?
are the number fours. I got to score you out here.
Do we not earn nothing?
I know. I'm sorry. I hate to give you guys both 3 points again, but I just love both these people so much. And Margot Martindale, as I said, would make me the best pan of brownies I've ever had. And I would drink it with a full liter of cold, whole milk. So I'm going 3 points for each person here. Mitch, let's go back to your next one here. We're doing the snake style today. So
My number 3 was another hard pick. Just because, again, I'm trying to get thinking outside the box, right? And I'm trying to pinpoint performances that, I've been watching a lot of TV and movies, and I'm trying to find those actors that when they come on screen, I just really enjoy their presence. And my number 3 pick is Jeffrey Wright. And he is one of those actors who you don't anticipate. Right? Unlike a Sam Rockwell or a Kathy Bates, if you see him on the billing, you're probably not too familiar with his name. But if you start looking into how long his career has spanned from I feel like it's now about 30 years from him doing, Shaft with, Sam Jackson. And to me, it's just like he is really unassuming, and he's a slow burn in terms of how he's able to capture the screen. I think in terms of recent acclaim, he's got Westworld as Bernard, and I unfortunately haven't seen the second season, and I know there's a lot of opinions about that show, but I enjoyed his performance in that first season, and he's opposite of Anthony Hopkins in that show for most of that show. And I just feel like those two powerhouses on screen, he's such a great compliment to such an all-star lead like Hopkins. And then you've got him in the Bond movies. And this is where I really first discovered him was Casino Royale, right? They restart the Bond movies. And I wasn't the biggest Bond kid growing up, but there's just something about that movie. I love poker, and there's something classic about the poker scene where, he comes in and he's playing the game and you're rooting for him. He's the American, right? And then he's out, and I feel like him complimenting Bond in that way, he's just able to show his chops that a big screen franchise, he's not afraid of that. And I think that also translates to the Hunger Games, He was in the Hunger Games movies. And again, he's got unassuming performances in those, but he still is able to really add to the scene. I feel like he is kind of the epitome of that support without taking the light. And that is, I think that's really important in types of this category. I think, so most recently, and this is because I started thinking about him. I was really enjoying, kind of playing around with him as my number 3, and I started looking, and he, in the last 2 years, he's released 2 kind of prison movies, and one is one that came out in 2018. It's by HBO, and it's called OG, and it's about him as a convict in prison who's up for parole in about 40 days, right? And he all of a sudden has this young prisoner who he's got, kind of getting him in trouble, and all of a sudden his parole comes up into contention because he used to be this he used to be the OG of the gangs in prison, and he kind of got away from all that stuff, and he's coming up on parole, but now all of a sudden he's getting stuck back into the game. He's trying to lead this young one to try and figure out the prison life in the cleanest way possible and get through, but all of a sudden he finds himself falling into the same traps. In contrary to that, as a support role, so he was the lead in OG, and I feel like it wasn't like the big breakout role for him. It was an HBO movie, and I feel like that's why I still kind of kept him in this category, because in All Day and a Night, it's a Netflix movie. And again, it takes place, he's in prison, and the story is all around the relationship between a son and the father. And the son, wanted to be a rapper, wanted to go in a different direction of his father because he was in prison, didn't want to lead that life, and his father didn't want that for him. And you see that this kid, unfortunately, he's in prison, right? And the whole movie is about how he lands there, what was the steps that he took, and he wasn't listening to his father. And all of a sudden, it's him and his father in prison together, and Jeffrey Wright is that father. And those scenes, I think there's maybe only 4 of them. I actually watched it this morning just because I was like, let's watch this movie. And he is wonderful in it. He's you think it's Jeffrey Wright in another prison suit doing another prison movie. And it is, and again, it's kind of that father figure taking care of that young son. And it is a different story. It is a different character. He is teaching different lessons. And I think that can be an interesting aspect as an actor to say, let's challenge myself and really do it. And you realize for the OG, they were in a real prison using real inmates, using real security guards. He was there for a year before that movie even filmed, so he can get to know the prisoners that he was filming with. And that translates to All Day and a Night. And I feel like he's just able to even grow further in terms of that prison reality and what life in prison can actually be for a lot of people. And it's 2 different stories and 2 different tellings of what you just go, they're criminals, they're in prison, it's just another prison movie. And it's not.
Yeah. Wow. I'm not surprised by his dedication. He's obviously extremely talented dude. And also clearly a darling of HBO. He's been on, as you mentioned, Westworld. I know I really fell in love with him on Boardwalk Empire back in the early 2010s as Valentine. Yeah, Valentine Narcisse as he's just kind of he's this syrupy evil. It's I can't remember, but I feel like he's sucking on a toothpick on a regular basis. And he's this quiet, cold, cool leader. And he just seems dangerous. And then also in Westworld, his glasses.
Yes.
I feel like his glasses. It's almost as if he has a sidekick with him. It's it's a whole nother character that he's also I don't know, but I just
that character
I love
is
that.
so interesting itself too, because that character is ever learning about itself as that season progresses. And, I am interested. I know that the show's kind of gone off the rails a little bit, but I'm excited to revisit season 2.
Yeah,
but I feel like he again. I mean, you watch him transform as that season takes place, and then, is it actually him that's programmed to do all that? I think there's a lot of interesting layers to what that show can mean.
Yeah. I would say Westworld is one of the more intriguing, surprising, and well-crafted seasons of television. Season 2, again, as you said, the rest of it, up for debate, but season 1 absolutely needs to be watched.
I just like Anthony Hopkins in just about anything. He has such and then Ed Harris too, like really charging like a full plow in that movie. Like that show, it's really
every single person in that show has 1 in a million eyes.
Yeah,
every single person.
Yeah,
Evan Rachel Wood, Hopkins, Jeffrey Wright, Ed Harris, James Mars. Everyone's just like, where do you get? And then Tandy Newton too. And then the extras they get in there. Everyone's just got.
Tandy is fucking awesome. That cast is very, very talented.
Yeah. Okay, Brian. I hate to keep going, but we got to keep moving here. Brian, give us your number 3, please.
All right, my number 3 is going to be short, sweet, and quick.
Okay.
This is Holly Flax herself, Amy Ryan, the yin to Michael Scott's yang. Amy Ryan. So,
whoa, wow,
she's
oh my gosh, Brian, tell us right now, how much do you want? Have you dreamt about having sex with the Holly Flax before? All the time? Are you married to her in your thoughts and dreams?
In my dreams, of course, yes.
Okay, good. Okay.
She was actually in a film with Margot Martindale, as well as Paul Giamatti and Bobby Cannavale. That's Win-Win, the high school wrestling movie, which is very, very good. And her list goes on between Birdman to Gone Baby Gone, and then playing to my audience here, Beatty Russell on The Wire. So she's got a pretty long career there, and it's just, again, someone who I'm excited to see pop up randomly in things that I am, whether it's a small little role here and there, or more of a kind of supporting / leading role in Win-Win or something like that. And then just the reruns that I get to visit on The Office.
Those are my favorite episodes.
How do you cast somebody opposite Michael Scott that works? I don't know how they saw any of her previous. I want to see her audition. I want to see how they brought her in and be like, she nails that role.
Yeah.
Because she's goofy. She can be serious. She's sweet. The scene with Kevin at the vending machine. It's like one of the classic scenes. That's a button. So it's like she's got a roller coaster of emotions on that show, or she's Yoda putting together her chair on the floor, and just the will they, won't they over the seasons. And then they finally, that hallway of candles, right? When it finally like all kind of comes to a button there. You want to talk about something I've cried at. There you go. Those candles where they all come.
That drive.
Yeah.
With them and Craig Robinson.
That's so funny that they added Craig to that scene. That was perfect.
It's perfect.
That's so good.
I will mention Brian, she's out of character for your list because she has only 68 credits. Everyone else on your list has much more, which is an interesting selection. But as we all know, The Office is super important to this generation of TV watchers. So I love it. And of course, you knew to play to me, Mitch Conti. As you are finding out now, it's good to play to the host. And Brian is working me good. So round 3 here, Brian. I was going to give you 3, but you failed to mention that Amy Ryan was also on the show 100 Center Street with Margot Martindale. So I'm sorry.
How did I miss that
Your
one?
research didn't go deep enough, my man. You're getting 2 points. And Mitch. Oh, Mitch. Mitch.
Mitch.
Hold on,
Mitch.
Mitch. Hey, I'm talking to myself. I'm trying to get okay. It's Conti. No, sorry. No. I'm being nice here. 3 points for Conti as well because he brought up one of my favorite recent seasons of television. And that is Westworld. So let's move right along to Conti. Give me your number 2 on this one.
Okay, my number 2. I think at this point I am very comfortable with my next 2 picks, and my number 2 is Tilda Swinton.
Tilda Swinton.
Very nice.
Yes, Tilda Swinton.
On my right.
Hold on. Her face has been on some posters.
Her face has been on some posters, sure, but her face is different every time. Give me one of her leading roles.
She's the host of Conan.
I mean, here's the thing. She adds a lot of depth to her characters.
That is true.
And
True.
She is probably one of the most transformative actors I've ever witnessed on screen. I mean, from specifically, you've got my favorite Wes Anderson, which is Grand Budapest Hotel, and she is Madame D, and she is this old, frail, horny old lady who has like little to no lines other than "I love you," and like it's hysterical and amazing, and she brings so much life to this old lady, and like she's dead instantly, and then the whole story revolves around her death, and it's just like, to me, like I think she's just so key as a character and support and adds to that script. And then she's great as a villain. You've got her as the White Witch in Chronicles of Narnia. And if you listen to my list already, you know that I like big blockbusters. She's that perfect, really, she's inviting. She's pretty in that movie. And then all of a sudden she twists and she's the villain and she's no longer inviting. She's no longer that. She offered a lot of prettiness. And then all of a sudden that turns on them pretty quickly. I feel like, as we're talking about big blockbuster movies, you've got Doctor Strange, and she is the ancient one in these movies. These are two big blockbuster Marvel movies that, Doctor Strange, I feel like, are not the most acclaimed, but she does add depth to those scenes. And she really drives, I think, a lot of that, because Benedict in those movies can be so just very much like, I'm Doctor Strange.
I'm doing an American accent.
Right, exactly. And she is able to breathe a little bit of life into that movie, I feel like. And then also, too, she's, Gabriel in Constantine. She is able to transform from all these really like wacky angel, witch, fantasy characters to realistic characters and real people really quickly. And that's Burn After Reading. That's Katie Cox. That's Coen Brothers movie. That is, in terms of, I've never seen this movie, but I have watched her scenes today, and that was Trainwreck, where she plays the woman
really
Diana,
good.
which is the boss of Amy
she's great
Schumer.
in that. Yep.
And all of a sudden, like, I'm watching.
Quick question. Hold on. Quick question. Who does that character remind you most of another boss character in a film? Who is she a continuation of? Because I thought of this immediately when I saw that movie.
Meryl Streep.
Bing, bing,
Devil
bing,
Wears
bing,
Prada?
Bing, bing, bing. Miranda from Devil Wears Prada, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the natural spiritual progression of that. Also, I was going to say, I should mention this too, you guys. The last Marvel movie I saw was Iron Man 2, okay? So...
You got some work to do.
Yes, so I just want to put that out there.
Do you have Disney Plus?
I do, yeah.
Mitch, there's like...
Are you talking to you or me? Are you talking to you or me? Which one is this?
The reason I did add it to, and why she was so prevalent on my mind is we did just watch all of the Marvel movies from the first Iron Man to Endgame, and those movies, I gotta say, for movies that span 20 plus, they did a great job of that universe. But an even more creative universe and very fun movie to watch that Tilda Swinton is amazing in is Snowpiercer, with also Captain America in that movie. While we're talking about Marvel movies connected, she is unbelievably weird in that movie. It's such a great, you've also got wonderful character actress and amazing support actress Octavia Spencer in that movie. You have really, I think Ed Harris is in that movie too. I think he is.
I think he might be, yeah.
From Westworld. I think he's the one in the front of the train. He's the architect.
Yeah.
Oh, and you've got John Hurt right before he passed. And John Hurt's at the back of the train. And John Hurt is just one of my favorite,
Yeah.
But Tilda Swinton plays Mason, and she plays this, in between, manager of these train cars. And she's, I think it's just you look at it and you're like, is that Tilda Swinton? Is that Tilda Swinton? I feel like that is, as opposed to Sam Rockwell being like, there's Sam Rockwell.
He takes his mask down and he's like, hey, I'm saying, what's up? Hey, and puts his...
I was watching those train wreck scenes and I literally was like, which one's Tilda Swinton? And then I was like, oh, that one is Tilda Swinton. And it's just like this plain...
Which she's playing a normal person.
Woman. And I was just so confused.
She had a hard tan in that film too, which was really funny.
I feel like she almost looked like Allison Janney from Mom, who's another character actress who I did want to add to my list. But I feel like that, that's my pick.
That's great. I was very worried you weren't going to mention Burn After Reading, but after many years of watching Coen Brothers movies, that's in my top 3. I love Burn After Reading. I think it's so fun. I love that.
It's so underrated.
It's so underrated. The performances are great. And I love that everyone's just like, I don't know what's happening. And it's just like a bunch of baloney and bullshit, but everyone just has fun, and it's a fun movie to watch.
She's married to Malkovich in that movie, right? And then she's having an affair with Clooney. And I feel like it's just like it's like Clooney's wackiest performance. It's Brad Pitt's one of Brad Pitt's wackiest performances. And I really do enjoy that they just have fun with. She seems like she would be a fun person to act with. I'm a big fan of Wes Anderson movies. There's a new one coming out soon, and also Jeffrey Wright will be in the new one too, which I'm also excited about.
Awesome.
I think so. Let me check. But yes. Anyway, that's my pick.
That's fantastic. Okay, Brian, you bring us to your number 2 here.
All right. My number 2 is a fascinating guy here.
Yeah.
At 91 years old and with the most film credits of any living or dead actor.
You're going to do
James Hong with 672 credits.
Wow.
469 TV shows, 149 films, 32 short films, and 22 video games. This man is Poe's father, Mr. Ping, in Kung Fu Panda. He's in Blade Runner. He's in Big Trouble in Little China. He is the host in the Seinfeld episode, The Chinese Restaurant. He's in Wayne's World 2. He's the general in Mulan. This man is everywhere.
Brian, okay, let me stop you here. Now, James Hong obviously has so much history to him, and he is going to enjoy not 1, but 2 pop quiz questions, okay, that I have here, okay? Now, I went through his IMDb page, okay? So this is just through his movies and television credits.
How did you get 4 hours of your time today to do that?
It was the majority of my research, and I counted by myself. So this is as accurate a count as I can do, and I did it twice for each time. So here's a question, and this will go to the person that's closest to the guess. How many times did James Hong play a character that's last name was Wong? How many
17.
different?
I would say higher. I'd probably go 26.
Holy cow, Brian, you're way off. Mr. Mitch Conti, you are very close. 15 was the number. Excellent job. He's getting +1 right there.
We're not doing Price is Right rules, baby. Hell yeah.
That's an amazing guess. And of course, so Brian doesn't have to say it all. I mean, he's been in everything from the beginning. Classic TV shows. He's been on Bonanza, Perry Mason, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., I Spy, which Bill Cosby won the first ever Emmy by a black actor for. The Bob Newhart Show, The New Perry Mason, Rockford Files, Hawaii Five-0, Starsky and Hutch, Dukes of Hazzards, Love Boat. It goes on and on and on and on and on. And here's a second question about James Hong. How many shows was he in, or series you could say, where he came back and played a different character the second time? So like shows he played multiple characters in. So because this is famous, of course, back in the day, racist Americans were like, oh, no, the difference was bring him back to play a different character. How many shows do you think he played different characters in?
12.
You say 12, Brian?
I say 12.
Now I'm gonna do Price is Right rolls, and I'm gonna say 13, baby.
Mitch Conti, a shrewd gamester.
Come on.
The shrewdest gamester we have here. The number is 26.
Holy cow.
26.
That is so racist.
Isn't it awful? Yes.
But there's good that comes out of this, because he said, I watched a short video with him in 1962. He realized this. He was just like, I can't be cliche my entire life. It's not good for anything. And he was one of the 9 founding members of the East West Players in LA, which was an all Asian theater group that they were like meant to put the Asian American experience, make it more visible in modern art. And it's still around, and he's still heavily involved with it at 91 years old, which is just amazing.
That's incredible.
It is really
and actor from the modern Hawaii Five-0. This is the big variety story that's going around now. Now there's a campaign to get him a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which is more than deserved for somebody who's had a career spanning this long and has contributed so much to, I think Randall Park has gone through the East-West Players, B.D. Wong. Like, there's a lot of people that have gotten experience of this.
Park.
Me too. I just rewatched The Interview this week because it was just random on Netflix. He's just so silly and goofy in that. And then what's the name of the Netflix movie he did with Alison Wong? Ali Wong.
I loved it. It was so cute. I'm going to look up this film.
It's such a cute...
Be My Maybe? Always Be My Maybe.
Always Be My Maybe.
Such a cute, fun movie.
So charming.
I loved it. I loved it.
He was also in those train wreck scenes with Tilda Swinton. He was in the office scenes with her. That's right.
Yeah.
And Ali Wong and him were in college together at UCLA in the same theater troupes, and that's why they connected again. I know, crazy. And of course, he plays Danny Chung for Change on Veep. So just brilliant.
And he's got a sitcom too, right? He's off the boat. He's got a whole sitcom now. Anyway, I apologize.
Yeah. Brian,
I like him.
He's great. Okay, back to James Hong. Brian, do you have any parting words before I add in a last thing on him?
I've said everything I need to say about James Hong, including that I've seen the Dan Fogler movie, Balls of Fury, the ping pong movie, where he is the blind ping pong coach, which not racist, but it's there. Again, another stupid movie I saw during my high school years that like burns these people into my head.
It's one of my favorite Christopher Walken movies. It is absurd in that movie. He is absurd in that movie.
So there it is, James Hong.
The last thing, Brian, I was, James Hong isn't at the top of my list of people like I necessarily seek out to watch on screen, but I did discover during my research that he's born in Minneapolis, Minnesota, my hometown. I'm in Minnesota right now. I know it's shameful, Mitch Conti. I know it's shameful. And he also graduated from the University of Minnesota, so he's a golden gopher. He is a golden goddamn gopher. I'm gonna give Brian. He was gonna get 1, but I'm gonna give him 2 points for that round.
I have one thing to say to Conti. The price is wrong, bitch.
Wow. And Conti, Tilda Swinton she is one onto herself. She is an incredible, unique talent. And so I'm giving you 2 points that round. And of course you get the 2 points for the pop quizzes. So you got 4 that round. So I know. You're doing great. So we're coming to our number 1. And let's go we started with Mitch the last round. Let's go with Brian. Give us your number 1, please.
My number 1 is a guy who most people outside of our group here, most common people be like, hey, I know that guy. He's that face that pops up everywhere. Mm-hmm. He's had a pretty long spanning career. He is a co-star with Allison Janney on Mom. He was Phil Yagoda on Entourage. He is William Fichtner. Just listen to this list right here. Heat, Contact, Armageddon, The Perfect Storm, Pearl Harbor, Black Hawk Down, Crash, The Longest Yard, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Dark Knight, Elysium, and it goes on and on and on. This man shows up everywhere and he kills it every single time. He's in one scene in The Dark Knight, and it's one of the most memorable scenes of the entire movie. The prologue. Mm-hmm. It's not even part of the narrative. Mm-hmm. He's in the prologue, and he kills it with like 3 lines. It's amazing.
He yells, "Do you know who you're stealing from?" Right? And then shoots a shotgun and then gets killed. And then he's like, and he does this weird
he does this weird thing with his voice. He goes, "You and your friends are dead." Says something like that. He modulates his voice in a weird way. And embarrassing, I'm going to admit this to the public. My girlfriend and I have finished watching Entourage all the way through for the 4th time.
During quarantine, right?
Yeah, it is the show when we start fighting about shows that we have to come back and watch because it's so dumb and mind-numbing and fantasy-driven. Like that's the one we go to. And when you get to the Johnny's Bananas portions of the show, where William Fichtner is the producer trying to get Johnny Drama a show, it's William Fichtner, man. He's the man.
Wow. If I know William Fichtner as a close friend, I'm calling him Billy Fick, right? Like you're
For
not calling
sure.
him, you're getting close.
The
to him.
Fixter.
You know what? He's one of the other actors on this list that I saw that started very late in his career. Didn't have his first film role till like 34. And from my research, I didn't see any like theater work. Most people like work in the theater for a little bit before they go on and start doing stuff. Margot Martindale, of course, didn't really break until she was 62 or 50 or whatever. I mean, it was
Same with Morgan Freeman. I mean, he was in his late 40s, early 50s before Driving Miss Daisy.
Is Morgan Freeman like 120 now? How old is he?
Oh, he's. I think he's in his 80s.
He's up there. Yeah, he's old.
Damn. Oh my God.
I wanted to mention Morgan Freeman too, but his career is now just huge. But in terms of those early years, I mean, he's got some of the most amazing supportive roles ever.
After Conti lists his number one, I think it'll be fun to go through our runners up here because I don't want to say one in case it's on his list, but
okay. I
feel like William Fichtner is the most character actor face.
Yep.
On my list. Everybody knows who he is. Most people don't know his name. I want to give him his credit. Billy Fichtner.
No matter how much he smiles, his eyes never look happy. There's always pain. There's always sadness. His face is long.
Those cheekbones, man.
Yeah,
he's got it going on.
And then the hairline. It starts late, but it comes in heavy. With the hair. So, yeah. All right, Mr. Conti. Our wonderful guest, please finish off your list. Give us your number one non-leading actor or actress.
So, I'm sure it's going to have some contention, especially next to an actor like Mr. Fichtner, because that is very much the epitome of character actor. But in terms of amazing support performances, I have chosen Gary Oldman. And in terms of my favorite movie, it is Fifth Element. I am a big fan of Fifth Element. It was one of those movies I watched very young with my dad a million times because he loved the opera scene so much. And me, I always enjoyed what a romp it was, what a fun space adventure it was. And the catalyst to this, the villain that is driving a lot of this story is, Zorg as the henchman for this all-knowing evil. And I feel like Zorg is one of those characters that is just so ruthless, so, and so selfish that he just has, every time he is on every time he's on screen there, you don't care that he's doing anything bad. You love every time he talks, every time he turns the corner, lights a cigarette, and he says that, I didn't mention what the red button did. And then that's like all he has to say, and then the explosion occurs. And then it's like, oh, I know this tune. Let's change the beat. And he drops in a bomb to make it 30 seconds until the bomb comes. And there's just so many quotable moments of Zorg. And then you get into other great, you were talking about The Dark Knight earlier, Brian. And in terms of wonderful support, it is none other than Gordon, Commissioner Gordon. And it is a lot of, in terms of Christian Bale opposite of Gary Oldman, you have, again, another stone cold lead, just kind of like Tilda Swinton to Benedict Cumberbatch. It is Christian Bale as Batman. And you have to have this life of Gary Oldman basically saying, this is my kids, this is my wife, this is my family that is being affected. You are victim. You don't get to be the victim because you're not facing the public that I am facing the public. And you are not supporting me the way that I need to be supported. And I feel like those performances are amazing. And again, in terms of more blockbuster hits that he only adds to the screen, you have Sirius Black in the Harry Potter movies, where all of a sudden you hit that third Harry Potter movie and this franchise changes, right? All of a sudden you don't have these little kids anymore. You have them racing around on a hippogriff with Sirius Black, the all-time murderer of the wizarding world. And I feel like only Gary Oldman is able to, especially alongside Helena Bonham Carter, able to translate that craze of being kept up and being demented by dementors for years on end, when really he is a good person, as opposed to other characters that he plays, like probably most his most iconic like character actor role is in True Romance. And this is where he plays a white pimp off of a Tarantino screenplay. And he, what is the name of the character is Drexel Spivey. And it's just like, he's a white pimp who thinks he's black. And it is 6 minutes of screen time. And it is still, to this day, one of the most iconic roles that he plays. And I think we've discussed here that he likes to be the villain. He's good at being the villain. His villains have different types of depth and different types of levels to them. And I think we land on probably one of my favorites, which is from Leon the Professional, where you've got Stansfield. And you, it is everyone.
That is the second time. That is the second time that quote has come up on this podcast. So thank you for bringing it back.
I mean, like, I think of, I just watched Community, and they literally bring that quote up in different ways 3 times. And it's just like, he's just an iconic villain in that movie. And his screen time is not long in that movie, but it bears weight. You know, he is able to bear weight to his roles. Yes, I know he has had multiple leading roles. I know he's very much a Hollywood name at this time, and that everyone can recognize this name. But in terms of his non-leading performances, those are really, you know, it's childhood me, it's nostalgia me watching those movies, watching him become a better actor. And now I'm glad to see him winning for Winston Churchill. You know, like that is, I feel like that's what I want to see happen for these actors. Yeah, even though it may not be.
This brings me to, I need to mention, yes, he has won an Oscar for leading actor, which, you know, also, I also reward balls on this podcast because I like to break the rules too. So I'm not getting mad at you for that. But this brings me to my last pop quiz question. That is about Gary Oldman. What hit NBC show was he nominated for an Emmy for guest star in a guest star role?
ER.
Hit NBC show. There's only a couple. There's just a giant hit.
Was he on Friends?
I literally have no idea.
It was Friends. He was nominated for Friends. Yes.
Really? Who did he play?
Yeah.
Friends? Way to go, Brian. You pulled that out. You won that.
I'm going to have to look up this scene later because I'm super curious now.
For playing a character named Richard Crosby. I have no idea what or where. I don't remember Friends.
We will go into the vault.
Gary Oldman?
Gary Oldman, 2001, he was nominated.
I had a role. Gary Oldman day not too long ago. I had the house to myself. I ate an entire box of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and I watched Air Force One. And it's one of the best quarantine days I've had so far.
So good.
It was great. Get off my plane.
That is wonderful. Okay, so that concludes our number ones. As I'm tallying up these scores quick, you guys, I want you to start talking about your honorable mentions that weren't mentioned here, and I'm going to jump in here. Give me a moment. I'm gonna tally.
Right. Conti, go first. What were some of your honorable mentions?
So one that I really love is Giancarlo Esposito, who
he's on my list. Yep, runner up.
He I feel like he's got a new Far Cry. He's voicing a new Far Cry game coming out, and his voice is also just so iconic. Like you watch those Breaking Bad seasons, you watch those Better Call Saul episodes that he's in, and he's just got gravitas, you know.
Yeah.
Like, and his career also is super long. Looking at his filmography, it's a lot that I'm not familiar with, but it is a long career. So he was definitely one of my runners up.
I'm jumping in here. I've tallied it up to jump on the Esposito train. Definitely have to see 1990 mockumentary Bob Roberts, Tim Robbins written and directed and starred in. He plays a neocon fake folk artist who's running for Senate in his state, and Esposito plays like a conspiracy theorist, hardcore progressive, like trying to root him out and expose him for what he is. It's fantastic. And it's today basically. It's very crazy. So Brian, sorry to cut you off, but keep going.
I'm just
check it out.
I'm just gonna go through my list. I had Danny Trejo, Gary Cole, J.K. Simmons, Michael Shannon, Alfred Molina, Octavia Spencer.
Alfred Molina, baby.
Yeah,
You guys, no one has said Steve Buscemi. WTF.
I know.
Yes, there is Buscemi fatigue.
Do you guys know who?
I get it.
Do you know by name Peter Stormare?
Oh,
He's
yeah.
the guy who always plays a Russian, basically.
He was in Fargo with Steve Buscemi. He killed Steve Buscemi in Fargo.
Yeah. I also had Oliver Platt was on my list there.
I had Oliver Platt too. I had Jennifer Coolidge.
Carrie Coon.
Which one?
Carrie Coon is on my list.
Gary Coon.
Carrie Coon. Walton Goggins.
Wow.
And Stephen Root.
Stephen Root's great.
Stephen Root's got a lot of
Space
credits.
is one of those just memorable characters where you're he's amazing in that. He
so good
developed
in
that whole thing, and it's just, I mean, it's amazing to see him.
You guys, I had the final scores here.
Oh,
so
boy.
I can now reveal the top 5 non-leading actors or actresses matchup today was won by none other than our guest player, Mitch Conti. 15-14. Brian made a valiant comeback with 4 points in the final round.
Ooh, not enough.
Mitch, I gave you 2 points for that last one just to make it close. Whoops, yes. Yes. But now we're moving right along into to end the show with the host's Fast 5 send-off, and that is the top 5 Depression-era cocktails for our Depressive Times. Number 5. Milk Punch. That's right. Milk Punch, baby. Everybody's favorite uncle's favorite drink. Made with whiskey, brandy, or white lightning, this is an essential here in America's sloshing dairy bucket region. 4 ounces, straight from the udder, 3 ounces of the good stuff, a pinch of sister sweetness, and 3 valuable drops of vanilla. Don't forget the nutmeg for a quenching post-harvest gulp. Number 4. Taft's Tub Punch. Stuck in a tight spot, like our former president, Taft's Tub Punch will loosen you free. Made of Cincinnati's best German wood alcohol spirits, dulled with just enough fruit and black tea so you don't vomit on first contact. Taft's Tub Punch, it'll get you out of a tight spot. Number 3. The Wild Turkey. This will return you to the gambling glory days of Gutterball in the roaring 20s before the family was allowed. The recipe is simple. During your third frame on the lanes, order 3 balls full of your favorite paint thinner cut just enough with maple syrup and a little water from the well next to the butcher shop for the effective amount of funk. Each bowling ball of forbidden booze should knock you over clean and leave you open to suggestions for your next one. Number 2. The old back in a jiffy, a.k.a. the Tri-Stater. This is you go up for a pint of whiskey and a pack of cigarettes, and you just never go back. Okay, number 1. The Marble Tuxedo. Oh, that sounds nice, right? Starts with an old rusty pail, a liberal mixture of everything your dead grandma has in the back of the cabinet, alcohol made out of orange peel, tequila with a production hiccup, vodka kept in an old Spam can, beer that's been chewed into by a family of desperate alcoholic mice. Dump in 2 old bananas and mix with a dirty spoon and chug down in front of your in-laws. The Marble Tuxedo, it will get you there. And that is the top 5 Depression-era cocktails we need in our depressive times. That is this week's edition of Uber Cinco. Please rate and review our show on Apple and send in your top 5 suggestions to bizbear.biz. And once again, we love that hearty wom, so please tell your friends about us and send your negative retorts to coolstorybro@thejoeroganexperience.com. From Bear Den Nation headquarters has been
Brian Ernst.
And my favorite person with the same name,
Mitch Conti.
And from my vacay spot here in the Lando Lakes, I've been Mitch Brinkman. And as BizBear always says, please plant some flowers, folks. The bees need love too. Auf Wiedersehen and adios.
You've just listened to Uber Cinco, a production of UBK Studios. Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you get your fine podcasts from.
If you like what you hear and want to support the show, please visit our Patreon site at patreon.com/UBKstudios. Every little bit helps us keep the lights on and the bill collectors at bay.
Keep tabs on us on all the social media at UBK Studios, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can see that we really are just a bunch of good Midwestern boys.